Hey guys, this is Harvey Media, and this is not a new review. No, this is not a big review like I usually do. Filmed a review of the sequel to The Shadow Strikes ages ago, and schoolwork has been really kicking my ass lately, so it's been hard to get down to that. But I haven't been uploading videos in a long time, and I wanted to get some material out there, even if it wasn't as polished as I usually try and make my stuff. So, I'm going to try and do this series. If I don't have anything new to upload, I'm going to try and do at least a weekly video where I either talk about something in the news or a movie I've watched recently or something like that. So today, I'm going to do a very quick review, trying to keep this very brief, because you guys know I can get long-winded, of a movie I watched recently that some of you may have heard of, Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. Now, what can I say about Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace that everyone hasn't already said before? Well, not much. So I'm just going to tell you my opinion and not worry about whether or not other people have seen it. As you can see from this poster over here, I'm a huge Star Wars fan. But yes, I grew up watching the movies when I first saw Star Wars Episode 1 when I was a kid. It was awesome. I loved everything about it. I thought Jar Jar Binks was hilarious. As I've grown up, I've learned that other people hate this movie, and I've gone back and watched it a couple times, and I've come around to other people's way of thinking a little bit more, but I was really kind of surprised by my reactions to it this most recent time that I watched it. It's interesting how the main plot of the film, it's probably the strangest of all the Star Wars films, just because the main plot of the film has absolutely nothing to do with Star Wars. None of the plots of any of the other movies has really anything to do with the plot of this movie, aside from the Anakin subplot, and the main plot only leaves behind one dangling plot thread that you need to know, or a couple things. We see how Palpatine got into office, which we didn't need to see. We see that Newt Gunray is kind of a fail at life, and that now he has a reason to hate Padme, and that he was working with Palpatine for some reason. We never actually find out why Palpatine wanted to do any of the stuff, the extremely vague stuff he was doing in this movie. The plot is really just an excuse to get from set piece to set piece to set piece. Now we're in the water. Now we're in the Gungan city. Now we're getting attacked by fish monsters. Now we're in Naboo city. Now we're fighting battle droids. Now we're in space. It's really bad. Obviously, from my point of view anyway, I think George Lucas was going for a sort of Jason and the Argonauts feel, where they just go on this voyage and encounter all sorts of fantastical adventures, some type things. But didn't come across at all. But yeah, so, and this is where a lot of people are going to hate me for this. I actually found that the most exciting, interesting thing in the film, for me, was actually the story of Anakin. And if there's one thing that people hate in this franchise, it's Anakin Skywalker. But personally, I actually found the story of Anakin in Episode 1, at least, to be actually very interesting. I considered the story to be very good. And I actually really liked and appreciated Jake Lloyd in the role. And you may think, well, he's awful, but no, he's not, actually. Considering a lot of the child actors that I have seen, and I've seen a lot of terrible child actors, he's actually not that bad at all. And even though the writing for his story, the writing for his dialogue, and some of the events that occur around him, are very weak sauce, the basic story of him and the basic character of Anakin Skywalker in this movie are both actually very good, and I found myself being very invested in his story, and even a little bit emotionally invested, almost choked up at some of the scenes, like when he had to say goodbye to his mother and stuff like that. Now, his mother is an awful actress. She does a terrible job, but Jake, I keep wanting to say Jake LaMotta, but I know that's not right. The Anakin Skywalker, the guy who hates his life now that he did that role. He actually did a great job, and if you're watching this video, which I can't imagine why you would want to watch a video where someone jackass on the internet reviewed Phantom Menace after all these years, props to you, man. I think you did a great job in that role, and you were a kid, and people shouldn't expect so much of you for doing that. But yeah, so I think he did a very good job, and I think that they actually set up his character rather well towards the beginning of the movie. The main problem I have with his character is that after is the climax where, well, okay, one, the Immaculate Conception. That was a dumb idea from the start. If you want to do, if you want to explain why he has a single mother, she's a slave. Shmi was raped. I understand you have a problem with saying that in the Star Wars movie, but let's be real here. Shmi was raped. Anakin is a bastard child. That is a much better origin for him, frankly. Also, the prophecy. Drop the prophecy angle. Just say that he's very gifted and that Obi-Wan wants to save him from the slave life and put him on a better path. Then he doesn't have that whole entitlement bullshit that we get in the rest of the movies. Instead, what he has is just a desire to help the oppressed at any cost. He's seen the darkness of society, the darkness of civilization, and he wants to save people. That should be his entire motivation. Throughout the Chosen One shit, that stuff was never necessary. And finally, in the climax, don't make him helping out in the climax be an accident. Anakin's character should be impulsive, and he should not follow the rules. So when Qui-Gon Jinn says, you find a safe place and you stay there, Anakin is hiding in a safe place, and he's looking around seeing all these pilots fly off, and he's like, I'm a pilot, I'm gonna help. And he runs off, and he jumps into a fighter, and he flies off, intentionally. And when R2-D2 questions is like, hey, Qui-Gon told me to find a safe place to hide, and that's what I'm doing. Nothing's safer than this cockpit right now. And he flies off. He takes off the autopilot intentionally. He doesn't just do spinning because it's a good trick. No, he blasts a motherfucker. Yeah, he blasts a motherfucker. They should have just Jake Lloyd, that's his name. Jake Lloyd going, now this is pod racing, motherfucker! You know, that would be a much better Star Wars movie. Yeah, raping motherfuckers. Yeah. The best thing about the movie, obviously, I already said the best thing story-wise is Anakin. The best thing in the movie is Darth Maul. He's awesome. Every time he showed up on screen, he was badass. Like I said, the climax left me cold because I didn't understand, because everything that happens in the movie, except for the Anakin plot, is extremely vague. It makes no sense. There is some good character development with Obi-Wan. It's very badly written, but I think Ewan McGregor actually brings something to the role in this movie which he didn't bring to any of the others. I think he actually still cared at this point. I think in the later movies he definitely doesn't. But yeah, he did I thought Ewan McGregor actually did a good job in this first movie, and then in the later movies just not so much. But there's really no reason to care because nothing that happens in the film has any point to it, and even though the bad guy's Palpatine's always sitting there like, yes, this is all going according to plan. Everything happens so much because of happenstance and coincidence. You're kind of left there being like, really? You planned all of this? Oh, of course you did. Yeah, you planned all of this. No, he didn't plan all of this. This is bullshit. He's an idiot. Master strategist Palpatine is not. But so in the climax, nothing is cool. There's all this cool action that when I was a kid I thought it was cool, but now it just leaves me cold because nothing interesting is going on. And then, because I don't care about any of the characters, I don't care about the situation, and then Darth Maul shows up, and suddenly none of that matters. Story doesn't matter. Characters doesn't matter. It's Darth Maul. And he's having this huge lightsaber fight with Obi-Wan Kenobi and Qui-Gon Jinn. And it is, in my opinion, the franchise's, to date, not counting Clone Wars, I haven't seen the Clone Wars series all the way through yet. To date in the movies, in my humble opinion, it is the last good lightsaber fight. I personally can't stand any of the lightsaber fights in any of the movies subsequent to this one. And I cannot understand why they felt the need to kill Darth Maul at the end of this movie, because Darth Maul needed to stick around. Like, one of the strengths of the original trilogy was that Darth Vader was a consistent villain throughout, and he was iconic. Darth Maul was exactly the type of villain you needed for this prequel trilogy. You needed him to be there as this really iconic antagonist with that look. He was so good, and Ray Park Jr. played it so well. I mean, he didn't speak much, but that's fine, and he was a badass, and he didn't need to say much. And then, if you had kept him around and then killed him at the end, like, screw General Grievous. He was a big disappointment. Screw Count Dooku. Count Dooku, I'll get Count Dooku when I review Episode 2 next week, but like, he should not... Palpatine shouldn't have had a new apprentice every movie. You should have kept Darth Maul as the apprentice throughout all the films, and at the end of Episode 3, he is killed, and Anakin replaces him as Darth Vader. And when Anakin replaces him as Darth Vader, then, when Darth Maul has been the consistent apprentice, or right-hand man, throughout the entire film, Darth Maul taking his place has so much more meaning, because it's not just a position that's filled every couple minutes. It's something important. So, yeah, and, of course, like everyone has said, Jar Jar Binks is annoying as hell. This is the first time watching the movie where I finally kind of understood the racist implications people have put on him. I'm not sure why more people aren't concerned with the racist implications of the Trade Federation there. I forget what the name of that race is supposed to be in the show, in the movie, but they seem somewhat racist. I'm not sure who they were racist against. Probably some sort of... They seemed of that sort of Oriental stereotype. I don't mean Asian. I mean Oriental. Completely different thing. That's a subject for an entirely different video, though. But, like, it just... It seemed to have that sort of vibe. But, yeah, I enjoyed parts of it, but it definitely is... I don't know if I would call it the weakest in the franchise, because Episode 3 exists. I mean, I'm going to have to watch Episode 3, and because I was completely caught off guard. This is a completely different opinion that I came away with from Episode 1 from the last time I watched it, but, like, I'm going to have to rewatch Episode 3 and reevaluate that, because I used to think of that one as the weakest in the franchise, but I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, those are my thoughts on Star Wars Episode 1. If you have any thought, if you disagree with me, or if you agree with me totally, or if you think, if you have just a totally random thought you want to express, please leave a comment in the comment section below. If you liked this video and you would like to see more, like the video. There's a like button down there. You can like the video, you can add it to your favorites, and you can subscribe to my channel. And hopefully I will be putting out more regular content as... time goes on, and hopefully, maybe, someday, if you're all very good, you will eventually see the review of International Crime and many other projects further down the line. So, yeah. See you next week. Bye-bye.